players were back on board with the circuit here. Clara heads the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we come.
What a crack!
Hello and welcome to Retro Motorsport. First up for your viewing pleasure, it's the NZ V8 Utes from 2009 at the Timaru racetrack.
A clean sweep for the Ginger Ninja at the previous Ruapuna round, and as always a few issues amongst the pack. But the big news is the junior McNugget almost taking himself out of the running. And this weekend will put plenty of pressure on the teams as they have the option of cementing a top spot or dropping out of contention. It's a congested points table and it will provide for some entertaining racing, and category manager Jamie Kett is set for a very busy time.
The Utes are very, very close. The drivers are getting better all the time. We had good drivers to start with and a whole lot of sort of not so good drivers, but they've raised the bar now and we're all pretty tight. So 4 wins is outstanding. I think they've got to keep their heads. Those at the top will want to accumulate points and have no DNS because it'll change everything. There's only 50 points separating the top 3 now and 39 points for a win. Anything can happen. So it's a big day at Timaru for these boys. The championship could well be decided here.
And there were no big surprises during qualifying with the major players at the top of the heap. Matthew the Phantom Lockwood, Kane the Ginger Ninja Lob, and Simon Junior Byrne. The McNugget needing to make big inroads this round if he is to make a play for the series title. Race 1 was, as expected, a good start for the bunch up front, but there was a small moment of panic in turn 1 when Pero and Bomber briefly came together, causing Bomber to take evasive and corrective action across the grass. Nothing like a bit of off-roading to warm the blood. He got it all back together while out front, the 3 regulars were in a battle of their own, with Craig Paddy Patterson getting in on the action. It was very good to see the big red man up the front part of the pack. Junior was performing much better than the earlier Ruapuna round and was making Ginger work for the lead. The Holden and Ford battle was exactly what the local race fans wanted, and were even more impressed that the fight for first and second was going right down to the checkered flag. However, no hard chasing or tailpipe pressure was going to make Ginger lose his spot or his valuable points that edged him closer to the Phantom. Now Junior's either fighting for a podium or in amongst the carnage. There's no middle ground. So who is he and what got him started?
One of my good friends at the time, Grant Sylvester, who's the son of the renowned Ron Sylvester, who races a 54 Chevy in Christchurch in the earlier days, got us interested in RX-7s, and then in return I got Dad Senior involved. It was a good time. I'm very competitive, as you pretty well know. So, I like to do everything and do it to the best of my ability. So the coveted championship, a little bit like last year, didn't sort of end in my favour. I've had 2 seconds and a third on a national scale, and then the Utes sort of got brought to the table, and we've sort of never looked back, to be fair. I'm very much a family man. I love my children. Isabella's a gorgeous little 4-year-old, as they are, and Lachlan, our son is 2 years of age. So every Sunday is a family day, and wherever possible, where it's close, we bring the family to an event, and they get right into it. And Bella loves looking at the trophies, and I love looking at them as well. So it's all good. Motor racing really is a luxury, no matter what form of motor racing you do. We're very fortunate to have a major sponsor, McDonald's, come on board, so the future is sort of determined very much by them. Hopefully they're very happy with the way things are gone, so we'll be talking again with them at the end of the season. So, I love the class, I love the camaraderie, the boys in it. We're very happy, plus I enjoy racing with Dad. As long as the economic climate gets a little bit better, we'd love to see ourselves here next year.
So that's the fella in a nutshell, and his team manager is Andy Neal, a racing instructor who was happy to guide us around Timaru.
The car setup is pretty generic, particularly with the vehicles we run, the BA Falcons. There's not a huge amount you can do with them. Confidence for the driver is the big underlying factor. Camber, caster, all the general basics we always run to. Obviously you fine-tune to the track. Really, I think braking's especially important here, being able to brake well with good balance, and really, especially out the back of Timaru, the 3 left-handers off the back straight, they're the key corners. Hook them all together with good balance and good momentum, good mid-corner speed, and you've got a fast car.
Okay, so that's the smart stuff about Timaru's track all sorted. Stay with us, because next up, the boys get to put it into practice with race 2. Welcome back to Timaru. This is the 5th round of the NZ V8 Utes, and before we go back out on the track for some more mayhem, how about we check out a couple of the teams? Actually, why a couple when we have the one and only Graham Senior Byrne on hand, caught in a moment of calm?
Been doing it since I was 47, so you can figure that one out for yourself, probably 10 or 12 years or thereabouts. Simon used to race RX-7s, he wanted to get me into it, so I thought, well, as long as I'm not last, I'll give it a go.
The crew, is it family and friends, or do you employ a crew, or how does it work for the Senior Byrne team coming into the Ute Racing Series?
Well, I used to have friends and family turn up, but I've decided it's a lot more economic to have a rent-a crew, so what I do is I rent a crew, I pay them $10 each for them to cheer and yell and call out my name and tell me how wonderful I am, and I find it very encouraging.
Do they know anything about mechanics though?
About as much as me, which is zero. I've been in the car game for 30 years and I still couldn't change a spark plug. Just like footballers, like Buck Shelford, you know, they reckon he retired too late, but I think he should still be playing rugby. I thought I'd retire about 4 or 5 years ago, but I actually won a couple of competitions. And I'm sort of running near enough just to keep me going, because I know if I stop I'll be in a wheelchair, so maybe another couple of years. As long as my son keeps racing, I'll race with him.
And here is the grid for race 2, and look, it's Huggy who drew the first marble.
Yeah, and I love that because Huggy's my man.
Well, you are attracted to the fella. Bomber grabs position 5, and it's Junior and Pero behind him.
Well, I wanted to say Mike Pero, but you beat me to the punch.
Well, that's okay. I like him as much as you like Huggy. Spence, there he is beside the Rocket Man. We haven't seen much of him in the action, although he did get that podium in the earlier round.
Ginger Ninja just behind. Had to say it.
That's going to be a great battle, and looky, the series leader, Matthew the Phantom Lockwood, right at the back of the grid, and we'll see what he can do. Already there's some position changing. They obviously don't like their own sides. They're going to swap.
Why is Lockwood at the back?
Marble draw.
Marble. The pain of a marble draw as we're underway.
We are underway. Huggy.
He loves Timaru.
Oh, they do love Timaru. And look at Huggy locking up the front left straight away. Huggy, Andy Booth will not be very impressed.
Well, week in, week out, I find myself being very repetitive, but I'm telling Huggy, stop smoking him, first corner. The manager doesn't like it.
Well, I think he's got a special deal with Yokohama because, you know, in these Utes, they get 6 tyres in a round. Every one of them are identical. They don't have slicks, they don't have wets or intermediates. They've all got identical Yokohama tyres. He must be on a very friendly deal with Mr. Yokohama.
Well, the way he's abusing them and using them, he must be. But look, a fairly pedestrian start to this race in Timaru. I mean, we would like a little bit more action, Craig. That's all I'm asking.
Well, you would. The drivers don't, because you don't write out the checks for repairs. And Timaru is a very tight and technical track, and it takes a bit of work, as you can look out the back of Huggy's machine as it is a train following him.
Yeah, it's a big, long, snaky train, as they like to call it.
All right, here we go. Coming down past the start-finish line for the first time. There's a little bit of position changing. Bomber went on the inside. We can't quite see what he's doing. We'll soon see if he's got any action happening. But notice the Shrek, and there goes Huggy again.
Well,
the Shrek is trying to go up the inside, so could the Shrek be going for a first ever podium?
Well, the left front is taking an absolute pounding in James Urquhart's Ute. And if he keeps that up, Shrek will just cruise on through, because he'll cook it too much in one of these corners. I can feel it in my waters.
Well, here's another problem he's going to have. Oh, look at him going loose now. Well, we'll try and see what happens. He goes wide. Oh, it is Huggy. I shouldn't have even been surprised. But remember that every time he locks up those brakes and creates a flat spot, the tyre will pretty much fall in the same spot on the track. So it flattens the flat spot, and it gets worse and worse and worse.
Right.
It's very technical.
That's the technical explanation of everything that's going on. Nonetheless, the real problem is he's going into these corners too fast, the pressure behind him is too great, and he's balls it up.
Well, that is one way of putting it. We look at that pressure you're talking about, and we've got the Bomber and Junior all over the stuff, and Sly, Dirty Bob Grove, who's been up the front, he's trying to do a good job of staying up the front, and Bomber can't get past.
No, Bomber can't get past at the moment, but he'll just work and work and work as Shrek leads the snake.
Such a great job, actually, there I'm watching from Bomber as he's trying to get past Sly and Dirty, and Sly is not being illegal. He's holding his line. You can see he's not swerving backwards and forwards. Of course, once you've made your line on the track, you can't move. So he isn't doing that, and as you can see up front, Bomber cannot get past because Sly is clever enough to stay just in the middle. No room.
We're not all like James Huggy Urquhart. We don't want to use the grass for every corner. So that is why you position yourself in the middle of the track and there's not enough room to get past as my Macca's Ute goes a little bit sideways around that corner, gets a little bit of a lift.
What are we looking at now? We're looking through the window of Graham Senior Byrne. Did we expect any less than him going outside the track?
Well, I mean, we're going to be a little bit easy on Senior because it was Junior last week taking out Senior.
And it was indeed. Senior's had quite a few problems. I mean, not as many as he had last season. He's doing a little bit better, but he still had lots of problems. As we watch the battle unfold, it is Huggy trying to hold off Kane, the Ginger Ninja Lob.
Well, Huggy's had so much smoke coming out of that ute that I just don't think that he's got the speed to hold everyone off, and he hasn't. Have a look.
I was just watching Bomber on the inside there, Shogun. I thought he was going to take Sly, but no cigar for him at the moment. And Ginger seems to be out on his own, just watching things unfold in front of him.
Well, I just saw the Ginger take Huggy, and I knew that would happen. I was not watching the front of the pack. I was back, a little further back in the mix of things.
Oh, you were in the heavy-duty action in the middle. Well, I was looking up front. Dave Kernahan, his first go in the Utes around Timaru, and he's enjoying it. It's a hard battle for him, though.
Well, as you said, it's a technical track, and we've seen that if you cook it, you're going in a little hard, you've not got the speed, and you're really fighting to hold position. It's not an easy track to stay on. Bit of a wing mirror hanging loose. Change that at half-time.
Yes, I think Kernahan's had a little bit of the tap-tap from somebody around Timaru, and this would be probably the track, though, that you would least want your power steering to fail.
Oh, absolutely. As we go back in car with Mike Perro, he's driving the old Ute, still trying to sell the new one. No success so far.
No, you haven't bought it yet?
No, not yet.
All right, we'll see you next season out there in the Utes. Try and walk the walk instead of talking the talk.
No, I may just stay in here.
I think there'll be a lot of drivers with your name on their inside windscreen.
That's what I'm saying. I'll stay right in here.
Well, it's probably a good move. We're watching the action still unfold in what you call the middle of the pack as Bomber tries to go down the inside of Sly.
And he doesn't get there. And right on his hammer is the Macca's Ford of Junior, who's not had the best year. Can he make some waves? We'll find out with the NZ V8 Utes when we return. Yeah, we're back. The NZ V8 Utes coming to you from Timaru. And at the moment, well, Craig, fill in the details for the listeners.
Well, at the moment, there's a battle up front with Huggy, who drew the marble for this race. It was a marble draw. And those who don't know what that means, it means you pull your grid number basically out of a hat, and that's where you start the race. And it causes all sorts of issues like this, where you have the faster guys in amongst the slower guys. I don't mean to be derogatory towards the slower guys, but it's a fact. And there are faster ones than slower ones, and it's just the way it happens in a marble draw. And what it does is it provides us with some very exciting racing as we see Huggy leading the race and Pero trying to drift.
Yeah, Mike Pero right on the hammer of Huggy Urquhart James. He's smoked the tyres, he's really cooking it, and he's not at the front.
No, he's not at the front. And here's a battle. We got Shrek, then Junior, then Bomber, then Sly and Dirty. Bomber did manage to get past him only just, and now he's leading away with the pack just following behind.
Well, Sly and Dirty Bob Grove, he says, I never intentionally hit anyone, it's always an accident.
You notice there now is Phantom, the Lockwood, the Matt. He's had all sorts of names, but he's now known as the Phantom in nice circles. He is leading the series coming into Timaru with only one round left, and this is race 2, and he is in the middle of the pack, starting from the back of this race as he drew the last marble. That means big issues for Matthew, because you saw the Ginger Ninja just make a move. He's going to clock up the points.
Beautiful move from the Ginger Ninja. I was standing there quietly appreciating it down the inside of Bob Grove as Junior Burner tries to make a little bit of a move on Shrek, but it just does not happen. Weaving left and right, he's trying to get around. There's almost a kiss, a touch. The smoke from the exhaust has gone right up into the intake, but he still can't get past Junior, and he's concerning me. The speed of the Ute, it's not there.
Well, isn't this a great battle where we're seeing both the Bomber and the Junior in behind the John Jones Steel Holden of Shrek? Of course, he is a major sponsor at Timaru Racetrack.
it's Senior Burner! Getting on the gas far too quickly coming out of the corner. He's had a senior moment. He's gassed it. He started to lose the back, and he never stopped. Take your foot off the accelerator, old man, please.
Oh, you are in so much trouble when he finds you, Shogun. Look, it's Senior in the back of the pack now. But watch this, Shrek's still holding off the Junior.
Yeah, the Junior, though, he wants to get up the inside. Not that way, Junior. You can't just push him out of the way. Oh, it's another coming together. The John Jones Steele's car with Shrek at the wheel. Infield, thanks to the Junior.
Well, we can see the little tap, the love tap between these two guys, and not only is John Jones Steele Holden Shrek a sponsor of the track, he's also a sponsor of Graham's Senior Burn. We're watching it there at the close-up. It's such a minor touch, but it's turned into such a dramatic action because Shrek was sitting in first.
Well, I just cannot see the officials allowing Junior to get away with that as we go in car with Shrek. This is fantastic. He's just got the little tap and the back of it just goes and there's no returning. Then he gets another little nudge from Junior, and I tell you what, that's going to cost Junior for sure.
Well, it is not only in his points for the race itself. He could get black flags or something. Well, actually, they might let him off. But as we're watching the guys come through for the last lap, it is also affecting Junior's chances of a series podium, and that's a big problem. Bomber still out in front as Ginger tries to get around the back of him. It's not going to happen that quickly. Watching them go into the back straight now for the last time here on race 2. And boy, is that a good battle between first and second, with Matthew the Phantom Lockwood coming into third, and he's come all the way from the back of the pack.
Well, he can drive at last year's series champion, leading this year. Mac Peach, though, driving incredibly well. He's taken a real boost this year. I don't know what he did over the off-season, but he's finding more speed. He's getting good results. He may very well take this one, but the Ginger Ninja is not going to let it go easily, that's for sure.
All right, well, we're watching Ginger all over the tailpipe, and like you said, they've had a bit of time to set these utes up now. They know what they're about. They're going to come down to the checkered flag. Bomber still out in front. I cannot imagine Ginger getting around him. He'll take the checkered flag for race 2 in the NZ V8 Utes. The Phantom, well, he's doing a good job. I want to see who's slotting into 4th position. The camera holds. There we go. It looks like the Junior. So that's not a bad effort after taking out sort of a part sponsor in Shrek.
Yeah, and we may have to wait for results on that one. Junior is going to be talking to Jamie Kett, I'm sure.
Well, it was a good result. We saw the cream at the top, Matthew Lockwood and the Ginger Ninja Kane Lobb. But what about the performance of Mac the Bomber Peach?
Pretty fortunate with what happened out there, but no, it was good to take the win, get some more points.
How difficult was it with Sly and Dirty in front of you? Because, wow, he was driving as wide as a house.
Oh, mate, that ute must have been about 15 feet wide. Everywhere I went, he was there. No, it's certainly hard work to close everything back up again. Be interesting for the rest of the weekend and down in Invercargill next weekend.
So great stuff for Bomber, but what can one say about the love between Shrek and Junior? It's motorsport, which means it's time for excuses.
I just had a better drive out of the corner than Frank. I mean, Frank's obviously the last person I want to hit. He's part of the team and he was heading for a podium. I just had a better drive and I just had a tighter line and we just touched when we were coming out of there and pulled back, but his car was just a little bit too far sideways for him not to pull it together.
Yeah, I'm a bit gutted. But that's racing. I was going slow on the outside so he can come in and let my teammate through. He wanted to go over the top.
Okay, enough of those two. What about the big learning curve for Dirty Dave Kernahan, who's been chucking a ute around levels for the first time?
Got away to a real good start and sort of got blocked a little bit, but yeah, some of those quicker guys, they sort of sneak up on you pretty quick. Nice little track. It keeps you busy out there, very busy little track. The only break you get is down the back straight. It was a good race. Come away with not too much damage, so yeah, no, really enjoyed it out there.
Don't go anywhere. The teams are fixing, which means more ute drama is on the way. Okay, time to get these nutters back out on the track. It's race 3. It's a reverse grid from this morning's marble draw, and expect big fireworks from up front.
Up front is reigning champion Matty Lockwood. the reverse grid, so from the back to the front.
Exactly, and sliding right in behind him was Kane, the Ginger Ninja Lob, who was catching up in the series tally, and there is Junior in the middle of the pack.
Oh, yeah, Jeff Spencer's right there with Mike Pirro. They'll be friends side by side.
Now, I wonder where Shrek will be, because he will have the McNugget lined up in his sights. There he is in 12th.
Yeah, well, how will this turn out in race 3? Who knows?
He could be an angry man at the moment, our Shrek. Huggy, of course, starting up the front of race 2. He will start at the back of race 3 as the lights go green, and we watch a little bit of simple swapping from side to side. Pirro goes into the middle of the track. Phantom leads the way.
Yeah, into the first corner. The Phantom is there. The Ginger Ninja has a little bit of a coming together with Patterson.
Yeah, what a nice little tap. I'm glad he managed to hold it together, because remember, these Utes, generally when they get a little tap like Pirro has going sideways once more, but they get a little bit of a tap, they go all over the place, and they did a good job to hold it together coming out into the back straight.
Yeah, well, somebody comes from off back on, but that's what it's all about. It's what we love. The action. The on-track, the off-track, is side by side, the Ginger Ninja and the Phantom. I tell you what, he's just holding position at the moment, the Phantom, isn't he? The Ginger Ninja, he wants past.
Well, here's a replay of the action with Pirro going sideways all over the place. He's having a good love tussle with Spence, and Rocket Man Rob just stays out of the way nicely. He's still tapping him.
Well, what's all this about, Pirro? Maybe he looked for another mortgage broker and Pirro's not happy about it. You just can't do that to Spencer's car.
Well, we're looking back up the front while they try and sort out the battle in the middle as the Phantom trying his best to hold off the VE Commodore, the Holden of the Ginger Ninja. Remembering he is running the new VE. The VZ is Matthew Lockwood's. It'll probably be one of the last times we'll see the older model out there. It is down on horsepower, but it has better handling, they say.
Well, certainly, hang on, I was going to say in terms of handling, he knows how to handle it. Oh, Shrek, what's going on? This car's an absolute mess now. We get to the replay, he just gets a little bit sideways, off onto the grass, bang, he comes back out! And James Huggy Urquhart's the unlucky man in the way.
Well, that's probably torn the front right out of that Ute, and that'll be an interesting job for the repair boys. Watching Huggy come around again, and Pirro's doing some sideways stuff as well. It's all going nuts here at Timaru.
Oh my goodness, Pirro donutting on the dirt in Timaru. You gotta love it.
Well, there's a lot of tyre rub on the side of that Ute. He's still drifting. Is he using last season's tyres?
I don't know, he may have Huggy's tyres from the first race. Well, he's just lost control there, hasn't he? What happened? I mean, it's a little hard to tell. Mac Peach down the inside.
Oh, do we have an incident here? We do.
Pirro cuts across back.
So he's been given the little nudge from the front of the bomber, and that spun him around, so he must partially apologise to Pirro, but only a little bit.
Well, no. I actually think Pirro came across in front of the bomber. I don't know, the bomber seemed to meet. Okay, look, we'll just call it a draw.
Pirro sending a text now. Right, there's Shogun on his list as well.
Just
You're getting a lot of enemies out there, Matthew, you know that.
Calm down.
All right, the green flag is still waving out the front. It is the Phantom leading the race ahead of the Ginger Ninja, and they are leaving Craig Paddy Patterson behind. The Junior doing everything he can to try and get past him. Holden up front with the two Fords battling for third and fourth spot.
Well, look at the Ninja. He's got the lights on, not flashing them on high at the moment, but Matthew Lockwood knows the Ninja is there. And I just suspect he's just holding, waiting, and at some stage will duck and dive.
Well, we noticed the line drive there, as I was explaining earlier in race 2 with Sly and Dirty, how you're not allowed to change it, and Ginger tries to go around the outside. This is Timaru, Ginger. I don't think that one's going to stick. No, not on that sweeper. Maybe Teretonga and maybe Manfield, but not here at Timaru. Junior trying to go up the inside of Paddy, and he does the right thing. He just backs off and lets him go past. But what I was saying earlier, you'll notice, and you'll probably notice it again in the next few shots as the race continues, the line move from the right-hand side of the track to the left-hand side. They're allowed to do that. It's not classed as weaving, but if he was to move back, that would be weaving, that would be illegal and all sorts of trouble. So Ginger has to get the right line out of the sweeper to try and get past Phantom. It's going to take a lot of work and probably more likely a mistake from Phantom to make it happen.
It looks to me he's certainly got more speed in a straight line, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get around. Well, he looks to be driving pretty well today, doesn't he, Junior? He's not had the greatest of starts to the season, but here he is right on the hammer of Paddy. He wants another position. That'll get him up into third.
Yeah, it looks like he's got his mojo back slightly. Craig Paddy Patterson trying to do it, and here goes Ginger once again trying to go round the outside. The Phantom just had a little tap. You could just see the front starting to wiggle around. The tyres are starting to wear out. This is race 3, and they're only allowed 6 in the whole weekend.
He's just trying to wear him down. You know I'm here, Lockwood. You know my Ute's quicker than yours. Yours may handle better, but I've got the speed. Watch out.
That's what he's trying to do, drag race him out as we go in car with Simon Junior Byrne as he's all over the back of the Cairns Bins Ford with Paddy Patterson from Moskill in behind the wheel, and he is doing a good job. He is not weaving on the track. What he's doing is making sure he doesn't give Junior too much room, allowing him to slip down. They're going past the start-finish flag, and there goes Pero once again. I think his tyres have gone bye-bye.
Well, I think he's had to spin this thing around so many times. He's flat-spotted him so many times that there are big issues for this race 3. Look at him. I mean, he can't even get the thing going straight. Mike Pero, he's turning one on for the crowd, but lucky he's his own sponsor, because his sponsor would be furious with this.
Oh, that is fantastic stuff by the Pero. We watch him. He gets into a little bit of a tussle with Huggy. I'm not sure if there was a tap. No, he looks like he's got up on the ridge line, and that's made it lose the action. Of course, there's not much grip on these things. You've got to do everything you can to keep them on the track, Mike, and that's not helping. Sideways he goes. You're loving him, aren't you? You're just loving him.
He was just ripping it up, trying to get it back on track. Furious he would be with himself, and he's probably a little frustrated, Pero. We'll leave him alone for now.
For now, let's go and watch the action from Graham Senior Byrne as he's out on the track with the in-car, and he has the Bomber in front of him, and it is Rocket Man in front of the Bomber. So both of these guys trying to get past, and he's having to back off the throttle a bit. So it's almost as though Rocket Man's a lot slower than these two.
Well, look at Senior. He's actually giving a little bit of a push to the number 25 of Mac the Bomber Peach, and I tell you, he must be feeling good about himself, Senior, right?
Well, we're watching Bomber now. Looks like he's got the inside line on the Rocket Man. Rocket Man's coming across.
Oh, it's going to end badly, surely.
Oh, well, I would have thought that was going to end in tears, but Bomber looks like he hit the brakes, did the right thing, and got out of trouble.
Well, that's a high-speed part of the course. Run a main straightaway. The start-finish line, they're right in it together, and I thought for sure another half second of contact, someone would have spun out for sure, taking the wall out.
Well, I've spoken about it a few times about weaving. Rocket Man did not weave. He held his line, but he's lost it. The pressure's been too much, and both the Bomber and Senior get him coming out of the back straight, and get him into the big sweeper at the end.
Well, quite often happens. You're holding. There's a little mistake, and then all of a sudden people are flying past you like you're in a wheelchair sitting still, basically.
Yeah, now look at Senior. He's got some serious pace on in this race. He's got a bit of mojo going on like his son.
I mean, I'm not sure what he's done through the week, but he's absolutely driving like a legend. Did I tell you my favourite driver is Graham Senior Byrne?
No, you haven't mentioned it, but I'm sure you're on his Christmas card list now as Matthew Lockwood goes a little bit loose. He is under pressure from the Ginger.
Yeah, my other favourite driver is the Ginger Ninja Kane Lobb, and he's putting the pressure on Lockwood, and we just saw Lockwood lock a tyre and get a bit of smoke, and I think as we cut from that shot, the Ginger Ninja was going to get him.
I think so. Now, what happened was the Ginger's come out of that corner, he's ducked on the inside, and that has stopped the Phantom from drifting left, which is what he's always been doing, and that's the deal. You're allowed to move across, but you're not allowed to weave. Phantom saw him, backed off. I bet your Ginger's got the front now. We're still down the back as we look at the mess between Huggy and Shrek that happened earlier in the race. Boy, I don't even think he'll get out of that ute. Yes, there it is. Confirmed, the Ginger Ninja made the move.
Yeah, I knew he'd eventually get past. He's just been so close to Lockwood. And Lockwood, really, as we've spoken about, he's driving down on horsepower, so he's on the knife edge all the time. He's got to push the ute, maybe a little bit more than the Ginger Ninja, and there we see him trying to get the most out of it. Gets a wheel off onto the grass, smokes it up, and the Ginger Ninja opens up a couple of car lengths.
Yeah, huge amount. We can see the setup now. It's taken the Chromie Holden team a season and a half to get the ute working properly. We're watching Junior once again trying to get on Paddy. It's not going to happen at that spot. Will Junior do another love tap? He's been into that at the moment. No, he does the smart thing and stays off the tailgate of Paddy. But yeah, the Mark Chromie Holden and Ginger Ninja, they've now finally got the ute working together. They really are very good.
I'm just looking at the front of that McDonald's Ford. I mean, it's mostly gaffer tape these days.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot on there. We'll have to wait and see Shrek's afterwards as well. But here we go. He's trying to go around the outside. It's not going to happen at Timaru. Ginger tried to do the same thing on the Phantom. The best move is to come out of the corner at the beginning of the straight, try and duck in on the inside.
Well, you need a little bit more speed here at Timaru, don't you? Because as we've seen, the drivers, they're getting pretty good track position, and there's not a lot of room to get around, and there's not a great deal of over overtaking positions on this track for the Utes. The speeds are so similar, being a production class, that it's always going to be difficult. It's a good battle though between these two, both getting a little sideways as we move through the day and move through our tyres.
Well, we know that Ginger's way out the front of the race. The Phantom is stuck in second, and now just depends. There is a tap. That's what we expected, just to let him know he's there. Now he's going on the outside. Junior is hoping for a mistake from Paddy. Equal on speed. It comes down to setup and comes down to skill. He's going to duck on the inside. Paddy knows he's there. So will Paddy go wide and give Junior the inside line? He's going to be turning hard to get the Ute to go left. Still not enough in it. There we go. Just moves down the left a little bit. If he got the slipstream, and it looks like he has, Paddy will not be able to move over. He's got him, Shogun.
He's got him, and he eventually just worked into it, didn't he? He said to Paddy, through his actions, give me some room, I want you down the back straight, and that's where he's got him. Nice move from Junior.
It was great driving, because coming through the start-finish line and through the tight corners, he did a little bit of the weaving left and right, let Paddy know he was there, gave him a bit of a tap as they crossed the start-finish line, so they're going into the final corner before the back straight. Paddy was all gone.
He was gone. We go in car with Graham Senior Burner, as I mentioned before, one of my favourite drivers. Right on the back of the Ute of Mac Peach. Right on the back. He's almost in the back of Mac's Ute. He gives him a nudge and goes up the inside. Oh, I heard something nasty there as Senior's Ute spins. I think Mac Peach came back at him and said, take that. Well, there's Mac on the infield.
No, that's the Shrek still sitting from the earlier race. Let's watch what happened. Mac was losing it on the outside, and Senior, he's tucked right in, and the front right of Bombers has caught the left rear tail. I can't really blame either of them. I suppose Senior coming around the outside should have stayed a bit wider.
No, well, either way, Mac kept going, and Senior was finished. Final lap of this one, and it's going to be the Ginger Ninja Kane Lobb, who got Matty Lockwood not long ago and will hang on and take the points, having a great season.
A very good season. They've really got the Ute working well. As we watch him coming around the end of Timaru, he'll head into the last of the S's. Very, very tight section here, and it's really hard on the tyres. It's almost like a casual Sunday drive at this point. Not much left on the track now. It's not the biggest circuit in the country, but boy, is it technical, and he's showing his class here as he leads the field for race 3. He's going to come through and take that checkered flag. What a good job by the Ginger. The rest of the field just gone bye-bye in behind.
All right, second, the Phantom, who held on but not long enough, and finally a podium finish for the Junior Burner.
Well, what a great race it was, with the Burn, the Lockwood and the Lob all in the top 3. Kind of expected. Now, it was also expected that race 3 would produce something, but what turned out to be a good morning for Shrek has become a very bad afternoon.
I was pretty powered up from that last race, and I was on fire, and I wanted to go hard, and spun out coming out of the hairpin. Bit going a bit sideways out of the hairpin, and all of a sudden Huggy appeared from behind me and gave me a big wallop.
Oh mate, it just I saw him go round and go off, and then he disappeared, and just the last second I saw him on the inside. I had my visor half open, I just slammed it shut and just saw my whole windscreen, or my whole side door go past me, mate, that was a massive hit.
But Shrek wasn't the only one who had issues today. Bombers had a few moments to sort, as explained by Paul Pero and Senior.
Hey, I wanted to be at the same place as someone else, and we grabbed each other, we embraced each other all the way through the turn, and I was surprised we came out almost nice and clean.
Driving pretty good in that race, and the inquiry will tell the difference at the hairpin. I come under Mac. I feel he took the side of my car out, as you can see, in the wheel. You don't win a races by being too soft. I was a little bit aggressive last year, and I feel I'm driving a lot better this year, but it's not showing at the moment. So I'll go to church next week and see what happens.
It's becoming a habit. Race 4 is next after the repairs. Okie dokie, it's time for the 4th and final race of the NZ V8 Utes from Timaru. The grid is aggregate, which means the best performers are up the front. They're juiced, they're pumped, they're excited. Well, as much as these guys can be. Time for us to get off the track and let the boys go racing.
Yeah, about time. Get off the track. Accumulated points, the Ginger Ninja and the Phantom.
Well, I'm puffing now because here I am, and there's the Bomber and the Junior sitting behind those two, as expected.
I've just got to say, Mike Pero, you've been so entertaining, but the Ute doesn't quite look like that anymore.
No, it doesn't, but he's done a good job to sit there on the third row. We go back to 9-10 with Sly and Dirty alongside Spence.
And how much rubber is left on the tyres of Huggy Urquhart's car?
Well, the good news is Shrek is back out there. We saw him parked up after the incident with him and Huggy earlier in race 3, and it tore the front off Shrek's Ute. It was just awful. The chassis was bent over, and now we're watching the action at the start of race 4. Boy, oh boy, is Huggy going for some serious stuff now.
Ducking up the inside, Huggy's picked up a couple of positions already. You can't see what's going on. There's dust, there's smoke, there's cars flying all over the show. Let's settle down, shall we? Huggy Urquhart's made up 5 or 6 positions from the start.
Well, he never actually got out of the Ute from race 3 to race 4. He's had it in the same, because he couldn't open the door after the incident with Shrek. We're watching all the carnage again. Pero went across the ripples, and the rest of them just fought it between themselves as a couple went out on the dirt. So really a lot of action and no incidents.
Mike Pero involved again. We've been in car, out of control with Mike Pero more today than Senior. Have they swapped cars?
Well, no, lessons. They've been giving each other lessons because now we're in with Senior, who was just watching the action up front going, please stay out of my way. I'm sick of being tapped.
Well, hang on a second. I'm just seeing that Junior has snuck past the Phantom. Obviously, we've not seen what's gone on, but he started third, now in second.
Well, it's a good move, and it means Phantom's having a few problems here this weekend, and I was wondering earlier whether he's having the same sort of issues that Pero is with tyres, just running out of special grip.
Well, I think at the end of the day, when you're in a car down on power, when things start to fade, it becomes harder and harder as he comes back at Junior. Can he get him around the outside? You wouldn't think so, but geez, he's competing, isn't he?
Well, he's giving it a good shot, and good on him for trying. I mean, his series title is disappearing very quickly here at Timaru. He came into this round in front, and now Junior and Ginger are catching him up dramatically.
Well, if Ginger takes this one, the pain will continue, and he's driving terrifically. Pero's in trouble. Pero's gone. The engine maybe, something, but he's doing about 3 miles an hour, and that's just not going to get results.
Yeah, we're watching the rest of it. Makes the boys look fast, doesn't it?
It does, actually.
Well, they've hit the turbo. That's a good look. We should continue to keep one driver in the series with an in-car cam going slow like that. Makes the other boys look blistering.
Do you want to do it?
No, I don't want to do it.
No, nor I.
Right, let's go back in car with Graham Senior Byrne as he tries to catch up to Paddy in front of him. The two Fords will have a good battle this race. It should be nice. Now, Senior's been going a lot quicker than normal. It's not his local track. It sort of is. I mean, he's more Ruapuna based. It's close enough, but he's having a really good time here at Timaru.
I know I shouldn't point it out, but again, no gloves. Yeah, I know, I shouldn't point it out, but I'm just saying, there's Pero.
He's in trouble.
Well, he's in trouble. The man on the quad bike is there trying to help him out, and Pero says, go away. I'm just furious this weekend.
Yeah, I've had enough of this race. I'm out of here. No more for me today.
I mean, if someone else hits me, goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's been a pretty tough battle. We watch Huggy, who had the big incident with Shrek in race 3, and looks like at least they've got both the Utes back out there. So the crews have done a very good job because there was a bit of tin can work required.
Oh man, we've had everything here this weekend. There's no doubt about it. But that's why we show up and watch all the time, Craig, isn't it? Because unlike the supercars, they're not that anal about losing some paint.
Yeah, they are, but they know they can get away with it a little more. I mean, at least you and I don't have to write the checks.
No, and I mean, look, it's always easy to talk about spending someone else's money. So as far as I'm concerned, they can continue to do what they're doing. Gaffer tape is incredibly cheap. Ask Junior.
Exactly right, and there is the Senior having a good ding-dong battle with Craig Paddy Patterson back in car with him right now, and he's going to go out wide past the start-finish line. We'll try and watch his line, see if we stay with this camera. So he's got a better line, much better. He doesn't use as much brakes as Paddy is. He's got a faster in, and he'll obviously have a faster out. Now, can he get the inside? Does Paddy move across? Why didn't Senior stick down the left? I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have the tyres now on the front to turn it in a little harder.
Well, he didn't want to get on the gas too quickly either. Paddy is holding some speed, and Senior's really working hard. He wants to get past. I'm just not sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, what he might have to do is take a leaf out of Junior's book from the earlier race, go a little bit wider on that corner, try to duck on the inside and scare Paddy into staying out wide. And that's exactly, in race 2, what Ginger did to Phantom, so it seems to be the right move.
Yeah, unfortunately, at the time, Senior wasn't anywhere near that manoeuvre and didn't see it.
Well, Sly and Dirty on his own. He's done good at the moment. He hasn't had the best of seasons. Plenty of carnage, especially at the earlier round of Manfield. Nice to see him. He's at least out there racing. So the Rocket Man having a good battle with Huggy now.
And still at the front, it's my boy, the Ginger Ninja, Kane Lobb, who just continues to accumulate points. The DNFs, they're not happening like last year. It could be his year. It's seemingly going to be his year.
He is really making a good push of it as he tries to take on the Phantom, who has been leading after the first 4 rounds coming here to Timaru. And the Ginger's doing a good job of trying to take those points away from him. So, Huggy at the moment, as the Rocket Man does a little bit of pirouing. We can call it that now. It's not drifting anymore.
Right, well, there's so much dirt and rubbish on the track there that it's probably not the last time we'll see that. You got to love it. That's a new form of racing, but it's not normally combined with circuit racing like this.
Well, it is with the Utes, obviously. There's a new front panel. I missed who that was. Look at Kernahan's poor Ute. He's had some battles as well. It was his first run here at Timaru in the Ute. I understand he's done it before in truck racing. That's slightly different.
Yeah, they're a little bit bigger and heavier and scarier.
Yeah, well, I don't know. These things are pretty scary at times. We're coming into the last lap now as we watch the Ginger Ninja just lead the pack from the front. No one seems to be able to touch him at the moment. He hasn't taken a clean sweep like he did at the earlier round of Ruapuna, but boy, is he making a good job of this one, Shogun.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to really take into account a marble draw when you want a clean sweep a weekend. It's imperative to get a good one and then get good results when you reverse it. You want to be in the middle somewhere really to get the best results from those. Today, the Ninja, well, he's going to take it, isn't he? He'll wrap up this final race, and all that can happen behind him is that the other guys sit there and wish that they were in that front unit.
Yeah, well, the Phantom's probably clocking up the addition in his head right now, thinking, oh no, I've just lost so many points. Not gained, but lost points to these two guys. Both in the red, one in the Holden, one in the Ford. Well, Junior's still going to keep trying. I think he should just back off and keep his ute intact and on the track, because the Ginger Ninja is going to come across.
Amazing how much room they've put between themselves and Lockwood in the last few laps. And here is the checkered flag. He gives it a little flicker, a little flash. The Ginger Ninja takes it. Another checkered flag for my boy. The number 3 could become the number 1.
Well, the number 1 at the moment is the Phantom, and he's come across the line in 3rd spot. And as I said, he'll be calculating points. The Junior grabbing 2nd, so that was nice. As expected, the cream's at the top. The Page, the Lockwood, Burner is very happy, but Kane Lobb takes a round win.
There wasn't going to be enough laps in that race, unfortunately, mate. He was driving a good race, and I was just trying to put pressure on him, and I just got a little bit wide coming onto the straight a couple of times, which compromised a few things. But hey, we're very happy, and all credit to Kane.
Mark Cromie, Holden and the team have just done an awesome job with the car. It's been very competitive. We've kept our nose clean. I mean, this weekend it's just awesome. I wasn't expecting that much because I haven't had the fastest car all weekend, but I mean, we've made the most of what we've got, and I think Invercargill should treat us pretty well in the Holden.
So the points table has closed up dramatically for the Utes, and not just up the top. It's getting tight for the ones further down the field.
She's been a tough weekend. Timaru, it was the first meeting that we had here last year, and she's all new again. We've knocked some time off our lap time, so we're happy with that. We're going forward. That last race, there was 5 of us all on 71 points for that round, so I think I might have knocked 4 of them off, so time will tell once we see those championship points.
Well, we won't see Spence up in the top of the championship table with Byrne in 4th. Peach is sitting in 3rd, but have a look at those points. 1 only between the Lobb and Lockwood. And the 3rd place here for the Phantom at Timaru will make the final round even more important. Junior did what he had to do, but it was a successful round for the Ginger Ninja, who was loving the South Island tracks, taking out rounds 4 and 5. And our demon moment of the round, well, how could we look past Junior, who last round took out his father? This time it was his father's sponsor. Another cross on the Christmas card list, and he doesn't win a case of demon. He has to buy Shrek one. If you're into motorsport for the drama, for the excitement, the action, the chaos, the heroes and the villains, then look no further than the NZ V8 Utes, because these guys provide it all. Next round is Teretonga, and it all comes down to that last one. We'll see you then.
Next up, it's back on the water. It's the UIM World Championship Jetsprinting from Horn Rapids in Idaho, and it's round 2 of the International Group A boats, the year 2001.
The Columbia River in America's Pacific Northwest is a source of life and commerce for many of the cities that line its banks. Cities like Pasco and Kennewick, as well as the city of Richland, home to Horn Rapids Jet Sprint Track, the venue for round number 2 of this year's World Series for International Group A. Last year's series saw an American take the crown. The question now is, will it happen again?
Jason, you're the defending champion. Round 1 wasn't so good. Round 2?
I think we're going to do real good. I'm real focused today, better than last weekend, and the boat's working pretty good. It's a little bit slick in some spots, but I think I'm making some adjustments to make it cure, but I think we're going to be in the game.
The way the point system works, you've really given yourself a handicap going into this championship, haven't you?
Yes, I have. All I got to do is just, get after it and go all the way, and just see what things pans out. You know, it might go the other way this race, and top 5 boats might be back to where I am. You know, they'll just have to see how the card falls. You know.
After the first round, the hard-charging American Dean the Machine Lautenschlager holds a narrow 1-point lead over the consistent Kiwi Andrew Dalzell.
Last week you won it. We're back again for round 2. Competition's still there.
Yep, still there. Hopefully we'll just keep it going nice and smooth early and see what we got for them later in the day. It's an awful long course.
The length of the course was a talking point all morning. The length, combined with the wide but shallow channels of Horn Rapid, will demand complete concentration from both driver and navigator. Any attempt to shortcut the corners, especially at the bottom and the top ends of the course, could easily end the boat running aground. And with the Group A field so evenly matched, any mistake today will be expensive, especially in the elimination round still to come.
The course today is longer. There's going to be a bigger challenge out there today. There's more chance to make a mistake, and it's going to be real interesting because guys are going to try real hard. I mean, you saw a couple of favourites go out last week with a mistake on a much easier track, and you've already seen in qualifying today, boats are already running aground. I think Dean just had a hiccup out there just now. So the course is a real challenge today, and mate, the fastest boat won't win it today. I reckon the boat, as I say, there'll be some surprises today, man.
Early qualifying again of the New Zealand driver Chris Monroe. 15th last week after a mistake. He tops the eliminations this week. Defending champion Jason Maxwell was through to the top 8 despite posting no time in the 16. The organizers put him in on an appeal, so 9 boats will start the next round. What is normally known as the top 8 because of a tied time will now go into the top 9 for groups of eliminations here at Horn Rapids. And out on the track first is going to be the American racing team of Jim and Glenda Maxwell, the husband-wife combination that has seen a lot of World Series competition, and not only being involved as a racer but also being involved as a track promoter as well. The track in Richland as well as this track, they are very instrumental in getting it made, as well as now the defunct sprint boat track that is in Spokane, Washington. So for the Maxwells and son Jason Maxwell, henceforth the name of the boat, Jason.
Well, they've come from the pack in 2 rounds now. Now this is the International Group A class, a restricted class where they can run V8 engines up to 412 cubic inch. They only have a single carburetor. They run on aviation fuel. The top engines develop somewhere about 600 to 650 horsepower. So they are really, really competitive. in the lightweight boat that weighs in at about 1,000 pounds all up, giving very big performance. The clock ticking on. They're over the magic minute. They want to be somewhere in the 72nd bracket if they want to go on to the next stage. It's a 70.93.
Here come the guys that are just happy to be here. Ty Applegate, running a super modified boat for the United States Sprint Boat Association. And they said, you know, if we can just make it in the field of 8, we're going to feel like we succeeded. They did so in Richland, so now they're going to try and do so here in Horn Rapids. They saw the 72nd pass happen with Jim and Glenda Maxwell, and it took them a 72.04, quickest to get them into the field of 9.
Well, these are the Unknown Warriors, Jack. They're from Vail in the state of Oregon, a 34-year-old, and only in his first year of sprinting. He's on a low horsepower boat, only 450 horsepower, running a 355 cubic inch shaft. So down on engine capacity, down on horsepower, doing a stunning job at Horn Rapids. Work your way around the track, looking good.
And for the split time, it's a 42.26, a little bit slower from where Jim and Glenda Maxwell were, but for a super modified boat, and for the first time ever for World Series jet sprinting, they are getting the experience, and that's what they wanted to do. They're probably going to park this boat, and then the next season coming up, the United States Sprint Boat Association, going to get themselves into a Group A boat. But this is the wave of the future right now. These guys have no fear whatsoever. Here we go to the finish line. The Ty Applegate time is going to be 71.66. Now out of the chutes, Phil Gribben. This is a guy who came all the way to America from Australia. You see on the side of his boat by himself. Doesn't have a traveling companion. They just put the boat in the containers and sent it over, and he has become everybody's friend in America. What a great guy this is. Phil Gribben.
Well, he's not one of the young guns. This is one of the 50-year-olds, a number of them in World Series jet sprinting, running the shotgun sprinter hull built in Australia. And Phil Gribben really coming on strong in the second round, hoping to make it through into the 4 for the first time in his World Series career. Coming up to the split, the 40 seconds gone.
And there is a split time for Phil Gribben of the 40.59 to 1.67 seconds faster than Ty Applegate. Well, hold on, Phil. Do a little hop, skip, and a jump. A lot of the drivers have kind of been complaining about the water condition today because there is so much sand in the water. It's not allowing the boats to set down into the aqua track here at Horn Rapids. To the finish line we go, all the way from Australia, running in America for World Series jet sprinting. It is Phil Gribben. To the finish line we go. It's going to show 69.64 for Phil Gribben, World Series jet sprinting. We'll be back right after this. The absolutely awesome onboard camera shot doing this over the World Series jet sprinting. Horn Rapids in the Pacific Northwest of America. Watch the boat change color. It's Hollywood Racing with Teresa Parrish and Casey Lack, the only all-female racing team doing it in the World Series jet sprinting. And as we continue on with our top 8, which is actually a top 9 here at Horn Rapids because of the tying of 2 boats in time. And this being the all-female team, they have got just as good a chance as anybody else. And they've come all this way from Australia to prove, indeed, they are worthy of being here. And watch the boat change colors. What an awesome paint job.
The rev counter hovering on 6,000 RPM. Casey Lack indicating left, right, left. Showing Teresa Parrish, the driver of the channels. She is the take. They came up in milliseconds in the Hollywood Link shotgun sprinter. The engine prepared by Colin Parrish of Parrish Automotive in Wangaratta, developing over 500 horsepower. They were 7th in the opening round. They were right there at the split. They are chasing to get into the top 4. They were 7th in the opener. They want to go one better. The clock will tell the story. Ticking away, it's over the magic minute. It's 65 seconds gone, and Ty Applegate is the time that they're chasing to beat. Can they do it? They stop at 70.43. Teresa Parrish.
Andrew Dalzell and Vicky Collette, cylinder head specialties. Flagman Quinton Lucas said, let's go, gang. Horn Rapids in the Pacific Northwest of America for Group A World Series jet sprinting. A lot of people saying early on, this is the man you want to be watching for in Group A. He's got to run himself a 71.65 to put Ty Applegate on the trailer.
Well, it's razzle-dazzle time. The New Zealand agricultural contractor, they made it in the final in round 1. They'd like to get on the top step of the podium here in round 2 as they work the Macraft around this Horn Rapids circuit. Whole new ball game as they come up
Close eye on the split time to see how Andrew Dalzell and Vicky Collette are going to be doing here. To the split time clock we come. Andrew Dalzell said, if I get anything less than a top 4, I'm not going to be happy. 39.97 on the split time. Watch out for Andrew Dalzell.
Well, he's looking good, Jack, and he's keeping it smooth right in the middle of the channels. He's going with the flow. We go on board again. Vicky Collette doing the indications. Round to the right, to the left, straight ahead. It is full speed ahead right now, somewhere between 75 and 80 miles an hour.
71.66 for the Ty Applegate time, and he's going to be on the trailer. If Andrew Dalzell runs at 71.65, sprinting to the finish line we go. Dalzell is going to go 68.76. Applegate is on the trailer.
This, to me, is not the time to go hard yet. I'm going to save that for the 4 and hopefully the 2, and that's when we'll see what we're made of it.
Well, see what we're made of, we'll see, because last weekend, on the last race, Brian Smith and Rhonda Smith had to lift back into the pits because they had blown an engine. For Haviland Racing, kids, here we go. The time to beat is going to be a 70.93. They're going to go to 70.92. If they do, the Jim Maxwell is going to be on the trailer. This is like a party game. When you go to a party and they bring out the limbo bar and you start doing the limbo rock, how low can you go? Well, we've lowered the bar one more time, and the recipient of that is going to be Jim and Glenda Maxwell. The 70.92 is what Brian and Rhonda Smith are going to have to run. And after last time out and blowing up the engine, he's got to be thinking cautious, 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 and then some. Russell.
Well, how cautious can you go? He's not that sort of driver. But Brian and Rhonda Smith, a veteran of sprint. This is the only shotgun sprinter hull raced in New Zealand, the Haviland boat, and they're just right on the case. They've been in the 69s, but they've got to go a lot better than that. If we want to be in the ballpark, as they must be down somewhere in the 67s. But it's all ahead of them at the moment. 55, 56 gone in the run. He is very, very smooth. He will not be psyched out. Certainly they've had the big engine problems. They've been burning the midnight oil to be here, but they've got so much to prove over the magic minute. Coming up the 70-second mark, it's a 69.19.
And off the starting line we come with Corky Luther saying, guys, let's do our tour. World Series Jetsprinting, Horn Rapids for round number 2 of Group A. Jason and Stephanie Maxwell, World Series Jetsprinting American champions from the 2000 season, as well as a number 2 finish overall in the New Zealand leg. Now they would like to walk out of here this weekend, if they can, to put themselves back on top after having some of a tough time on the first race in Richland.
One of the rising stars of the sport, a young man to watch, a young man in a hurry, young man on a mission, and Jason Maxwell, one of the stars of the defending US Open champion, going for 2 in the line. He's got a big job ahead of him as we come up to the split.
And at the split time, looking at 38.57, 2.5 seconds faster than they were earlier. And here is your scenario. We've got the opportunity for Jason Maxwell to replace himself into the list, and Dad's already on the trailer, so now it's going to be Teresa Parrish with a 70.43. Should be able to do that without any problems. Jason and Stephanie Maxwell chasing the golden ring, looking to get into the final 4 for at least the boats that have ran the track so far at Horn Rapids, a 65.61.
We're around 5th fastest now, so there's no pressure right now. As long as I can keep that in my head, I end up in the top 4, and we'll take it from there then.
Here comes the character of the sport. Dean the Machine Lautenschlager. Hannah Wright's going to be doing the navigating. Watch Hannah's left hand. She will navigate as good, if not better, than most navigators in World Series Jetsprinting. It's called Hall and Glass as we continue on the round of elimination for the top 8, which is actually a top 9 because of the 2 boats being tied at Horn Rapids for Group A. And a lot of people are also saying, watch out for this guy to be the one that takes it all. Dean the Machine Lautenschlager.
This is the team absolutely on fire in the opener. They got their confidence up, winding up the orange machine, peeling off another big run. Looking great as we come to the half minute, heading towards the split that's going to be critical on the Crusade.
35, 36, 37, 38. Here comes split time. And for Dean the Machine, split time is a 39.17. Keeps this up and keeps it between the islands. He's going to be moving on to the final 4. For the longest time, Jack Brinkman, president of the United States Sprint Boat Association, had been riding navigator with him, but he was weighing in about 210 pounds. So they've removed him and put Hannah Rice in, who weighs about 90 pounds soaking wet, and has lightened the boat by 120 pounds. And the performance is prominent to the finish line we go. Dean Machine going in at a 67.05.
From America we go to Kiwi, and this is the man, the crew, Chris Munro, Tony Carter and Kawara Jet, who have been quickest in every round so far, through the qualifiers, through the elimination 16, but at this stage of the game, it is every run is a whole new ball game, a new sheet of paper. But this engine has already won 2 World Series titles in the hands of Gary Tomes, and Munro, the Munro team, going to make it 3 in a line for this engine. They had a disappointing first round, but they really are on the pace. They're setting a red-hot one. They're burning up the waterways. Coming up to 30 seconds gone in the run.
Keep your eye on the split time for Chris Munro. Another one of those that are an early on odds-on favorite to take it all the way for World Series Jetsprinting, except for what had happened earlier. Look at there, 38 and a 12 with 2 seconds faster on the split time. An absolutely horrific finish in the first race here in America, way down on the point standings, but we'll see what takes place with Brian Smith on a 69.19. He's got to run a 69.18 or faster to put Brian Smith onto the trailer, and if he keeps it like Lautenschlager between the islands, shouldn't be a problem. To the finish line we go for Chris Munro, 66.06.
Chris, 66, pretty good time.
Yeah, that's pretty much it at the moment, yeah.
Everybody's sort of saying, oh, well, we don't care about Chris's 66 because he's tapped out. Was Chris tapped out?
Yeah, no, we've sort of given it everything, and just to see, we wanted to know really what we were capable of, what the boat was capable of, and yeah, we'll see.
U.S. Open, Horn Rapids, round number 2. And the top 9 results from Group A, those not making it into the Final 4. Ty Applegate, Jim Maxwell, Teresa Parrish, Phil Gribbon, and Brian Smith. But into the Final 4, Andrew Dalzell, Dean the Machine Lautenschlager, Chris Munro, and fastest time from the round of eliminations, Jason Maxwell.
That was a hell of a run.
Yeah, we finally got the boat dialed in. It feels really good. I got her in a groove. Feels good.
You were slower than Chris on the split, but you brought it home real fast.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to figure out where he's beat me on there, but it's a little late in the game for that, so I'm just going to keep doing the same thing I've been doing.
Can you bring it down further?
If I can, it's only going to be probably about 1/10 of a second.
Race day is very simple. You get up early, you load the boat and trailer on the back of your tow rig, maybe grab something to eat on the way to the track. You show up, you take it with the boat. You get yourself 3 rounds of qualifying. Then you get into the field of 16. Then you're down into the 8. And if you are fast enough and consistent enough, you'll end up where we are right now in the top 4 for Group A. World Series Jetsprinting, Horn Rapids, in the state of Washington in the Pacific Northwest of America. Andrew Dalzell is a survivor to this point, being one of the 4, making it into the Final 4. But from his times in the field of 8, he was the slowest of the 4 boats. Henceforth, he is on the track first. He gets a chance to lay the first time down. Everybody else has got to chase after that. Russell.
Well, that is the challenge. He's going to lay it down because in jet sprinting this level, it's all about each round as you go. If the qualifiers go into the elimination 16 round, that cuts to 8. It cuts to 4 to 2, so it is sudden death. Every round, the field cuts in half, and it's a whole new ball game as he heads towards the finish. On board the head specialist Matt Craft, Vicky Collett, the guiding hand there, pointing towards the finish, coming up to the minute, and then he's got to crank it on. The last corner is critical, keeping up the boat speed, and now we start the last sequence of corners round, looking for that sight. There it is now, breaks the beam with a 68.45.
Final 4 continues with the character, the American racer, Dean the Machine Lautenschlager, and Hannah Rice making the navigator change from United States Sprint Boat Association President Jack Bringman, coming in at about 210 pounds down to Hannah Rice, who's maybe 90 pounds soaking wet. It is all for the advantage of lightening up the boat as best as they can. Dean the Machine Lautenschlager, the winner of the USSBA, United States Sprint Boat Association Group A Championship for the year 2000. It's Dean the Machine Lautenschlager.
Works his way around the track. We come up to the half minute and we look at the splits. We want the comparison, the 39.55 from Andrew Dalzell. And will he be up? Will he be down? He's 38.85. He's 0.7 of a second ahead of the clock. And this is the orange machine, the one they're all talking about. Oranges don't come any brighter, they don't come any quicker than in this particular boat, or slicker.
68.45 for Andrew Dalzell. Lautenschlager wants to be faster than that. That'll keep him away from the inevitable bubble, because after we get him to the final four, we're only taking 2 to the finals. Lautenschlager wants to be there, and he's going to go 66.61. Now it comes down to this. Andrew Dalzell with a 68.45. Dean Lautenschlager with a 66.61. Chris Monroe and Tony Carter attacking the track now for World Series Jet Sprinting. If they go a 66.60 or faster, they're automatically going into the finals. It's going to put Dalzell onto the trailer. They've come all this way to the west coast of America, the northwest coast of America, from New Zealand, the New Zealand champion, Chris Monroe.
And this is Kawara Jet, and Monroe running the very latest Evolution Matcraft hull. Does a huge amount of R&D for the Matcraft team, who arguably have made the most successful hulls in jet sprinting history. This is the ultimate Mac attack.
On the split time, 32/100ths of a second faster from where we were earlier with Dean Lautenschlager, who came out on the pass with a 66.61. Chris Monroe hopping and skipping across the water and pedal to the metal all the way. He would love to get a 66.60 or faster to get him into the finals, and then it's going to be Dalzell on the trailer, only to find out what's going to be happening with Jason and Stephanie Maxwell coming up here in a matter of seconds, and it will show a 65-second pass. He goes to the finals. Now, is he going to be taking on this guy, Jason and Stephanie Maxwell on the live wire, or is he going to be taking on Dean the Machine? It all depends what happens with the pass with Jason and Stephanie Maxwell, World Series Jet Sprinting champions in America from last year's series, and a second place finish, making them overall the Group A champion for the Maxwells. They live, eat, and breathe jet sprinting, or in America as it is called, sprint boat racing. So kids, they know what they have got to do. It's a hero or zero situation here. They have got to run a 66.60 or faster. If not, Lautenschlager is going to be taking on. Oh no! Oh no! The Maxwell is going to be on the trailer. That's going to be it for the day. Take a look again in slow-mo what has happened. Horn Rapids track has got him because in the middle of the track is where it's deep and very shallow out on the edges. Oh man! That means we got to find out Chris Monroe and Dean the Machine Lautenschlager.
Hell of a way to end your day.
Yeah. Just pushed her a little too hard, got loose there in the back corner. Happens.
Good luck, mate.
So after the final four, it comes down to this. Jason Maxwell and Andrew Dalzell don't make it to the finals, but it's going to be an American-New Zealand final. American Dean Lautenschlager taking on Chris Monroe from New Zealand.
Well, is this going to be the American dream, going for 2 in a line? Dean Lautenschlager, he is running first against the Kiwi, and he gets on the gas pedal straight away. The 406 Chevrolet winding up to 6,500 RPM. The hand of Hannah Rice guiding him on his way. The American champion is going to set the time for the New Zealand champion as they work their way around Horn Rapids. Forget the times they've done before. We've seen the cuts go from 16 to 8 to 4 to 2. This is the last chance to dance. It's either going to be gold or silver, but at the worst, he will get silver, but he wants the double gold. Half a minute gone in the run. We come up the critical split.
For Dean the Machine Lautenschlager to the split time clock we go. How about a 39.07? That's going to be off just a little bit from where they were before by about 0.4 of a second. So Dean the Machine is down just a little bit, but that's only the front half of the course. Get a little wishy-washy in the channels here at Horn Rapids. At least we got blue sky and sunshine. The crowd is loving the World Series Jet Sprinting. He's got to lay down his best time of the day right now. Chris Monroe was already in the pit pool waiting to come out and attack the track to pick up all the win, and it's going to be a 66.69. Now for Chris Monroe, he knows what he's got to do. He doesn't have a second chance. This is it. There's only 2 boats remaining for the finals. One has already ran. He's got to run a 66.68 or better to beat Dean Lautenschlager. It is Chris Monroe, New Zealand Group A champion.
He's now absolutely focused. He was 0.8 of a second quicker in the top 4. Forget that. It is this time round. He wants to be ahead at the split. Kawara Jet and this crew are looking to take out the Max. That horrible start in round one where they could do no better than a 14th with a navigational problem. It is time to make amends as they come up the split. It is time to give them a taste of Kiwi.
Oh, same place he had done it before. 27 100ths of a second faster than what Dean Lautenschlager was on the split time. That one corner has caused Chris Monroe to hop and skip all day long. He knows what he has got to do. Laying down his fastest time of the day, 66.69. Dean Lautenschlager, hero or zero time? First or last? Here we go, kids, making the chase to the finish line. Who's it gonna be? New Zealand or America? New Zealand 65.91. Fought day of racing in Horn Rapids Group A finals. Dean Lautenschlager from America, number 2. Chris Monroe from New Zealand on top. Overall, that makes the standings. Ty Applegate, Phil Gribben, Jim Maxwell, J.R. Kidd, and Teresa Parrish. And for the top 4, Jason Maxwell, Brian Smith, Andrew Dalzell, and on top, it's Dean the Machine Lautenschlager. For World Series Jet Sprinting, and on behalf of Russell Harris, I'm Big Jack Armstrong. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you at the track.
But wait, there's more. It's 2006, and the thundering Formula 5000 monsters, they're at Ruapuna for the annual Skope Classic.
You're watching Sangong Speed Week, in action now from the Flexiplast New Zealand Express Formula 5000s. This is round 3 of the series, and again features the very fast English drivers who dominated at Pukekohe.
So the pace car about to leave us as we get set for race number 1 in round number 3 of the Flexiplast New Zealand Express Formula 5000 Revival Series. This is what the big crowd has come to see. Formula 5000 action just like in the 70s here at Ruapuna, and out in the front it is the Lola of Simon Hadfield. Now you'll notice that the racetrack is wet, but only wet in parts. Now that has led to a lot of consternation with a lot of the drivers, because some of them are using wet weather tyres, others are on dry, slick tyres. The wet weather tyres for some, well, maybe it was the right decision, maybe it wasn't. Hadfield in the front, he is on wets. The man in second place is car number 30, that is Ian Clements. Right in behind him, it is Tony Richards in car number 23, another one of the Lolas. Watch out there for the McLaren M26, Frank Lyons in about 5th place for the moment. But it is the Englishman, Simon Hadfield. We saw him do this at Pukekohe Park Raceway in round number 2. Remember, the Englishmen were to drive their own cars here, but unfortunately their ship had some problems en route to New Zealand, and their cars haven't made it. So the New Zealanders have got together, and the English drivers are driving, for the most part, New Zealand cars, except for Frank Lyons, who has air freighted his McLaren M26 over here. That's him back in 5th place at the moment. Hadfield looking for all the puddles on the racetrack here at Ruapuna. Remember, he is on wet weather tyres. So as this race goes on and the track starts to dry out, he is going to be in a little bit of bother. It is the Lola T332, normally driven by Stan Redmond. Second place man, another Lola, and that is Ian Clements. Ian Clements having a great series. Oh, and round goes number 23, and that's Tony Richards, and yet another Lola. Well, we've got Lolas out there. We've got a couple of McLarens. We've got some McRae GM1s and New Zealand design cars. There is the first of the McLarens, and that is Frank Lyons. Car number 3 there, David Abbott, the recently appointed club president at the Canterbury Car Club. the host car club for the Skope Classic for 2006. Simon Hadfield just looking as smooth as ever. Continues to lead this race. Clements gets a little bit closer, so too does Frank Lyons. Then it is car number 22, and that's Stuart Lush in the McRae. There is Murray Sinclair, last year's defending champion in the series. Hasn't had the series he had last year and has struggled a little bit in the opening rounds. This is round 3 of the FlexiPass New Zealand Express Formula 5000 Revival Series, and the man on your screen, well, he lit up the crowds at Pukekohe when he made his first appearance in this car. It's the Stan Redmond Lola T332, but the driver is Simon Hadfield. Good scrap going on for second place as they work their way into pothole, and that was Ian Clements and also Frank Lyons from London in the McLaren M26, the ex-James Hunt car. But this man continues to lead. But what you've got to keep in the back of your mind is that as the track slowly dries out, Simon Hadfield is going to be in some tyre trouble. Now, because of the rainy conditions and the unavailability of some of the wet tyres for these cars, we've lost Michael Shriver from the field. He decided not to start. He didn't have wet tyres, and when this race was originally scheduled to start, it was raining cats and dogs here at Ruapuna. But now, probably to the consternation of Simon Hadfield, the rain has gone away. There's still some damp patches on the racetrack, and Hadfield will be trying to seek those out to keep the wet weather tyres he's running nice and cool. This race scheduled to go over 8 laps, and if it continues to dry out, Hadfield is going to shred those wet weather tyres. He leads for the moment, but he looks to me like he is slowing just a little bit. Certainly isn't running the competitive lap times he was earlier on. They were in the 121s, well, he's down into the 130s at the moment, so considerably slower than what we saw yesterday. Hadfield in the front. This is the battle for third and fourth now. That is Stan Redmond in the second of his cars. That's a McRae GM1 designed by New Zealand's Graham McRae. Just ahead of him it's Stuart Lush. We go back to the front of the field now, and you can see for yourself that the Lola has slowed. It's just that little bit of a puddle of water there as they work in down through turn 1, through Castrol, through pothole. And that's what Simon Hadfield's driving into every time. He's got to keep the wet tyres dry. And look at Frank Lyons. He's stalking Hadfield now, and Hadfield is wounded. Lyons, I can tell you, started on slick tyres in the McLaren M26. And he's right under the wing now of Simon Hadfield. So the Englishman putting on a show here at Skope 2006. And there we see the pass, I think, for the lead. Yes, it is Frank Lyons that goes into the front. Well, if he can stay there, he'll record his first win in the FlexiPass New Zealand Express Formula 5000 Revival Series. Came out here last year. Him and his wife brought their cars out. This year they were a victim of the transportation problems. But then Frank decided to gather up the courage and air freight his McLaren out. And it's worked out for him because he's in the front now. You can see for yourself Hadfield really starting to struggle now on the wet tyres. That is the Stan Redmond Lola T332 carrying the FlexiPass colours. Stan in the field in his second car. There he is there on your screen in the McRae. Car number 15, the GM1. Car number 24 is a Reynard driven by Barry Leach. Now he's in fourth place, but the leader is Frank Lyons in the McLaren, and he will go through and take the win just on his slowdown lap now. The ex-James Hunt McLaren of Frank Lyons gets race number 2 here at Ruapuna. Were you surprised that you caught Simon so quickly?
I was surprised that I caught him so easily. And when I caught him, I could see that he was suffering a bit with understeer, but he had more straight line speed. So all I had to do was to wait for a good opportunity where his car understeered the most, which was in the hairpin, and I ran up the inside of him. So, you know, I knew if I got ahead of him, I was carrying more speed through the inner part of the circuit anyway, and if I could pull out enough from him, he would never catch me again on the straight. But it was good, and it was a tough race because it was extremely wet in the beginning, and it started to dry out, and the trick with these tyres is if it starts to dry out, find some wet spots and try and keep them cool. But it's still taken its toll on the tyre a bit, but never mind.
We had the car pretty much set up for the wet, and I think your New Zealand wets, which on the car that stands loaners are a bit softer. Frank was on English wets, and they just lasted a bit longer. That was all. Right at the end, I was at about 15 miles an hour and just massive understeer. But we had some fun.
When you were sitting on the line and the sun came out, did you think, oh no, I've made the wrong choice?
I thought I should be on slicks. If we'd been on slicks, we'd have won easily. And the real Sanders is Michael, whose car hasn't got wet, didn't start. If he had, I think he'd have whooped us all.
That's it for this week. See you next week for more Retro Motorsport.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, and there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we come.